Let's take a look at the low board. Let's see if it's even working. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. Some of you are probably on the road going to MATS, the Mid-America Truck Show. So for those of you going to the truck show, have a safe trip. Hope you have fun. I'm going to miss you this year. And I'll be taking a small trip later this weekend, but it will not be to Louisville, Kentucky. So it's a bummer, but yeah, we'll get through it, right? We'll get through it. It'll be the first. Well, I missed a Mid-America Truck Show when I broke my ankle when I first entered the spot market, when I first came to like trucking. That was in March of 2018, I believe. And I missed out. So I was having to sit there all disabled in my chair, watching everybody have fun at MATS. I think there was a lot of drunken ramblings going on by other YouTubers, and I missed all of it. So, but good morning. Hope all is well. We had a pretty successful day of booking freight yesterday, so that was good. And those of you don't know this yet, but DIY Semi had a really good video the other day doing cold calls with shippers with e-carrier. And it was a very informative deal there. So go check that out. If you're, instead of complaining about brokers, stop using them. So you've got choices. Sterling with the gifting, thank you very much. Thank you very much for those gifts. And Lloyd, thank you for the $20. Thank you, good sir, for all that you do for us truckers and speaking the truth in a positive light. We appreciate you. Thank you, Lloyd. I do what I can. It does no good. Look, to do the fear-mongering does no good. For those of us that have been in the market for a while, it's just another day, right? It's just another day. Speaking of coffee, hold on. I had to get my coffee. But yeah, thank you for the super chats and the gifting memberships. Sterling Sorry, Sterling's got a really good channel over there, so go check him out. But I appreciate the gratitude. If I ever come across as not grateful, then please forgive me. So I try to add gratitude in my life. So, but yes, DIY did knock it out of the park with the cold calling video. So he did really good with that. So, and hold on a second. Gotta get rid of that frog. Here's what it boils down to, and I'll get to the comments here. You can read all the, like DIY and I, we did a review on a book, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's a really good book. But the reality is that you can read all these books about sales and all this stuff. And what the number one factor in any conversation, whether it's for business or for just conversation, is if you're, it's having some people skills. I've been on some three-way calls with brokers and other drivers, and I'm just like, wow, okay, this is why you struggle a little bit. Not saying that I am some kind of cherry rainbow person when I'm on the phone with a broker. It's not, and sometimes it's hard to have that persona. Sometimes it's hard to be pleasant when you're not in a good mood. And sometimes it's hard to be pleasant when they answer the phone rudely, or you can barely understand them, or both. But, and I've had my moments. I've literally hung up on brokers simply because they just, I've been in this game long enough that I can tell when a broker has it together and when one doesn't. When it's an agent that obviously has been thrown in the fire and they're not enjoying their life. And then the ones that are new, so, there's troubles with the rate con or whatever. But then there's also just, you're not cut out for this job type agents and brokers that I've talked to. And so having the people skills, having some empathy, having some knowledge of the other side is a big help in dealing with people. You just got to know how to talk to people is what it boils down to. And if you could do that, that's what E-Carrier demonstrated. He knows how to talk to people. He's trying to, you have to become relatable. You got to bridge that gap of non-understanding, right? Ratman, don't you start. Don't you start. Ratman's over there watching on X, formerly known as Twitter. Anyways, I will give a small business more money for the same product if they just treat me right. And I'll give you an example. So I had to go to a different gym last Saturday, and there's a gun and pawn shop that I keep seeing. I never go in there. I kept seeing it. I was like, oh, I'm curious to go in there, So I went in there after my workout. And there's a lot of times where pawn shop people are pretty jaded because they see the worst of society. I walked into a pawn shop one time around Christmas, and the guy gave me a deal on, I was trying to sell him some CDs or something like that. And he said, you know what? Because you're talking to me like a human being and you don't seem to have any issues going on, I'm going to do a deal with you. And simply because he had seen the worst humanity. So most pawn shop people are pretty jaded. They don't trust anybody. But this guy was pretty cool. He had a nice assortment of guitars. He had a nice assortment of the pews. And they were reasonably priced. And then we had this conversation. I mentioned this, I think, on Monday. We had a nice conversation about this Epiphone Les Paul that he had that was Leonard Skinner special, and it had like some 30th anniversary tour kind of deal, and now they're getting ready to do their 40th anniversary. So we were talking about that a little bit. And he said, I'd rather people come in and like my prices than trying to say, well, my price is too high and try to talk me down. So, and he admitted he didn't know how to play guitar at all, and I gave him a compliment. I said, well, all your guitars seem to be in tune, fairly close. He goes, well, I try, but I'm not a guitar player by no means. And so it was a great conversation. I wanted to buy something just to support his business because he didn't have that typical attitude that you sometimes get with pawn shops. So sometimes just being a good person, that's good enough. Try to relate to the person that you're talking to. And that's the problem with the digital broker platform, is that you don't really have a chance to do that. Now, I did book a load in an interesting way I've never done before this week, and it was through a chat, a web chat. So I saw it on the load board, and it said, to book this load, call, email. You had to email, and then or do the web chat. And I thought, let's try this web chat thing. And so I did that, and it wasn't bad. Now, when you're typing, you got to put full sentences, punctuation, look professional, and that's pretty easy to do. And if you have trouble with that, take the time to take 5 minutes, peck away at a good sentence, and then put it somewhere where you can just copy and paste it. And I have one that's, good morning. I'm looking at your load, and then the load details. I copy and paste the load details. Is this load still available? And sometimes I add, and if so, what are the details? And that usually does okay. Now, yesterday, I had done that on a couple loads. Now, anybody who's gotten an email from me knows that I have a huge signature. I've got my name, my position, my phone number, my email address, Like Trucking's website, and a huge picture of my truck. That's my signature. And I can't tell you how many times, especially yesterday, how many brokers go, there was a multi-stop load I was looking at in Missouri, and I was like, hey, I'm interested in this load. And she's like, she emailed back saying, what is your callback number? I did not respond. Now, granted, sometimes signatures don't show up in an email. At least the picture doesn't, because they don't want to download attachments or whatever. I get that. But it can't be any plainer than day. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not on a multi-stop load. If it was a one and done, maybe, but on a multi-stop load where I need like fine details, no. You obviously didn't read my email. And maybe that's a personal flaw with me. So the cat is being noisy. So, but anyways, there was another one where I emailed, wanted the details, and it took me 3 emails to get the receiving customer. It was a load coming into Springfield, and I wanted to know who the customer was, because there's some customers that require more effort than others when it comes to delivery inside Springfield. And I don't know if the broker was ashamed of the customer, because it wasn't that bad of a customer, but I was like, and again, they did not read my email. By that time, I had already booked and moved on, by the time he got back with me. So being on the, and I understand that brokers and agents, they get busy, and I understand that, so I think that maybe I'm a patient person when it comes to that, but there are days when my patience is less than others. if I call you on a load and the broker's like, I can't understand you, and then you become short with me, I click. I'm not even dealing with that. Pleasantries are out the window, and that's how fast paced this is, because I've been looking at flatbed freight for a friend of mine, and I've noticed a difference with a lot of flatbed brokers, because they have to have those details. So they have to kind of be a little bit more on their A game when it comes to details and talking to the drivers and all that. So anyways, let's get to the comments, and then we'll get to the low board stuff. So go truck yourself. Good morning. Sterling, good morning. Thank you for the gifts. Lloyd, what's up? Good morning. Thank you for the super chat. South Middle Eastern Oregon welcomes you. Thank you. It's been many, many years since I've been to South Middle Eastern. It's been a while since I've been in Oregon. What I didn't know about Oregon was, I had friends that were from there. I had my mom, originally lived there. And what I didn't realize is there's like a bunch of different climates. When I think of Oregon, I think of trees, like I don't know, Upper Washington or something like that. I didn't realize there was like all these different climates in Oregon until I got down there. And that was the one and only time I've actually blown a drive tire was in Oregon. Quick Hit, what's up? WCF Invader, dope. Desert Okie Pan, good morning. Flatbed Trucker, what's up? David Edwards, morning. All will be lurking, he said. The greater Kansas City area welcomes you as well. Truck Show Bound, good deal, Quick Hit. Enjoy yourself. I think DIY is going to be heading down there. I can't think of any other bigger YouTubers that said they're going to be down there. I know that Sammy, makes sense. He was thinking about not going. A lot of people are busy, and a lot of people are I don't know. Truck Show vibe is going to be different this year. If I have a prediction, it will be that. So, good morning from Lexington, T-Bone. What's up? Don Schonger, good morning. Lloyd with the $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Help. Ran out of coffee. Had to resort to instant. Nasty. No, dude, you don't have 5 minutes to brew a cup of coffee. Now, I will say this, Pale Rider. If you get the tea bag looking coffee deals, those are actually better than the instant. So we're going to remove Pale Rider's coffee card, because at least you're not like Jeffrey Like, who one time ate straight instant coffee crystals on a dare straight from the bottle when he was in his truck. So thank you, Sterling, for the gifts. Old School Trucking, good morning, Snorelord in chat. Scorpion Trucker, good morning, Snorelord. Everyone from Portland, Maine, getting loaded now, then heading to PA. Thank you, Rig Runner. Excellent. CDN says, happy Wednesday. Hey, you changed your avatar. You actually have an avatar. Before it was the purple sea. Now you've got like a picture and everything. CDN, you've got a wrench. Go ahead and put the link to your interview. He was interviewed recently. I've not watched it yet, but everybody go check it out. DIY cold call video. There's the link to that video. Shannon, good morning, everyone. Cash is King. Hey now. What's up, Cash? Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope you're doing all right. If you're in a bad mood but need to talk to people, do some push-ups and jumpy jacks and take a 5 BM. What's a 5 BM? I'm kind of dumb. Good morning, everyone. Coming to you from Crossville, Tennessee. Justin, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Lance, also with the gift memberships. Thank you very much. I need to do some membership videos, I guess. Cash can give me a thumbs up. Good morning, Snorelord. Pawn shop people are a bit sketchy because they regularly buy stolen goods and they know they're stolen. They've seen that same tweaker coming in and selling a 5th lawnmower. And yeah, I mean, look, I get it. I've got a friend of mine from the old music scene that owns a pawn shop out in one of the surrounding towns in Missouri. And I mean, he's got some stories definitely. So Gerardo, what's up? CDN, if you're in a if you're in a bad mood, do some push-ups, jumping jacks, take a 2 to 5 minute walk to clear your head, put Vaseline on your teeth and smile before you pick up the phone, take a 2-minute cold shower. That's a lot of work to talk to a rude broker. Life is too short to be moody. I agree with that. I used to be really moody before I changed my diet. So, I mean, I'm still moody a little bit, but not to the level I used to be. I used to be in full-on depression, you know. Randy's already at Matt's looking at a half-empty parking lot. Wednesday is the best day to hit the parking lot. Now, I've heard that they have changed the parking lot. It's a different parking lot now, so no more airlines flying over your head. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a different spot, better spot. I do know that they had a shooting downtown Louisville, Kentucky. There was that guy that went into the bank and started, going to town. And that was shortly after Matt's last year, I believe. So be careful when you're walking around downtown. You never know. I know that I was approached by a homeless person, and he was telling me to shoot somebody. And I was like, I just kind of like, okay. Like, he's like, do me, he goes up to me and goes, do me a favor, shoot that. And I'm like, thank you. Have a good day. So. But yes, exercise does help the moodiness. So that's what that guy probably needed to do as well. Sage, what's up? Hey now, thanks for sharing my stuff on the X Twitter. Good morning from South Carolina, Cheap Freight Hauler. Good to see you. Fate Trucking's in here as well. Good morning. History shows again and again how nature points out the folly of men. Yes, I believe that's a lyric somewhere. 1 cup of caffeine dehydrates you, 5 glasses of water. Man, I'm really dehydrated because I drink a lot of coffee. Wait, Jeff did what? Jeff was live in his truck one day, and someone gave him a super chat to eat instant coffee crystals. It was nasty. He had to drink water. He was almost like, he was gagging. It was funny. No mats for me. Possibly no more YouTube. Why not? What's wrong, Provost? You should call me and tell me all about it after the live feed. Mark Ely, good morning. Pale Rider saying hi to Provost. Don't get me started on duplicate emails. My MC number is in my signature, and without fail, I always get asked for my MC number. Sometimes after signing a Raycon and replying, they ask for a signed Raycon. Burned out. It's good to take a break, Provost. I hear you. I feel you. It's good to take a break. But yeah, Provost is usually at Matt's. I don't think you were there last year though, either, because you were busy like off with race cars and stuff. Gerardo, good morning from Phoenix, Arizona. I used to, like, those of you who live in Phoenix, I used to live off of 35th Avenue and Thomas. 35th and Thomas. That's where I used to live. I've heard it's not a very safe area anymore. Has anyone seen my lawnmower? It's gone. Yes, you have to get the electric lawnmower. Just got empty in New York City. Definitely coming back for the right money. If you know where you're going, New York City's not that bad. If you know where you're going, it's just like any other city. Out of all the cities I've been to, I never went into the heart of New York City as a truck driver. I've been there with a truck driver. My dad used to go into Hunts Point all the time. And he was more like, sit back and shut up. We'll talk here in about 2 hours, because he was concentrating on everything. But I think that L.A. was probably the worst, quote-unquote, city I've driven in as far as, like, traffic and everything else. I think I would be more stressed to go into L.A. than I would New York City. So, and with today's technology, you can kind of recon where you're going. You can look at Street View and all that stuff. So, Mrs. A, I haven't seen her Sage. Have you looked in the kitchen? Here's a link to a podcast that was interviewed. Big reveal. There you go. So CDN has a big reveal in that interview. So we'll have to check that out. Old School saying hi to Shannon. Road by Matt's Monday. A few cool looking trucks in the lot. Bet it's getting packed by now. Usually Wednesday afternoon is when everybody starts rolling in. I know that if you go back on my channel, this channel, I have some truck show videos. They never do well, except one of the Joplin ones did okay. And it was my journey to Matt's. And basically I did a load that delivered in, I forget, somewhere in Indiana, about 100 miles away. And I rolled in there and like Brian Garner, Harold was there, James Best was there, Kevin and Ollie was there. Everybody was showing up all at once on Wednesday. It was pretty fun. It was probably the most fun truck show that I've had. So, Gorilla Blue Oyster Cult. That's not a song. Godzilla, stupid autocorrect. Now, when I type Godzilla, it actually says Godzilla, not Gorilla. But I'm a Godzilla fan, as you can see. So, just knock something down. Shannon saying hi to the wife. Scott, what's up? My second grandson last week, 9 pounds. Congratulations! Wow, that's a big kid there. Very good. Hopefully he's healthy and happy, and well, they're gonna cry a lot for a while, but you'll get through it. I love those little tubes of instant coffee crystals for camping trips. I can just dump them in a bottle of water and pretend it's fancy cold brew. No wait to boil water. There you go. So cool trucking. Hey folks, what's up? CDN, I second those coffee pouches. Yes, instant coffee has come a long way, but those coffee bags are pretty good too. I had to use that motion for coffee bags for some reason, so I'm a dork. TC Boggs also saying congrats to Scott. Atlanta is worse than Los Angeles now, says Sterling. I don't know. I've been in Atlanta more recently than LA, so I don't know. I do okay with, maybe it's because I've been through Atlanta way more times than I have LA. I mean, to be honest with you, I've only been to LA once. I had one load that went from Springfield to Ontario, and I literally moved 2 docks over to pick up a reload right back to Springfield. Easiest 2 weeks or whatever, however much time it was. Easiest week I've ever had. It was a great run. It was light both directions, and it was awesome. Of course, I didn't care. It was not my fuel, but CN says they're really affordable too. Yeah, Old School's disagreeing with Sterling. Oh, there goes the rainforest. Go gorilla. I used to eat Kool-Aid like y'all are talking about with the coffee. That's a lot of dye right there. Remember Sharkenberry? Remember that flavor Sharkenberry? I saw that in a Facebook post. I'm like, what the hell is a Sharkenberry? Doesn't have the same ring to it. It doesn't. Sterling, Atlanta's a cakewalk. Spent last week with my son and grandsons. Look, I'm telling you right now, guys, family time is important. Driving a truck and owning a truck is nice, but family is more important. So, Atlanta traffic is worse. Cali drivers are just dumber. Says 810 Batman. Atlanta has traffic from all directions. Los Angeles only has it from 3. That's true. Left the yard Monday evening. Good deal. Sharkleberry fin. That was my favorite Kool-Aid flavor. Sharkleberry fin. I said Sharkenberry. I was getting that mixed up with that Frankenberry cereal. All horrible stuff for you. All horrible. That's why everybody's autistic now. So Atlanta traffic is like the Z. What's the Z? So anyways, let's get to some low board stuff. I know that's why you're here. It's very riveting, right? We got 82 people in here. Thank you very much. We are going to look at load volumes. Let's see if the DAT board is working first. Hey, it is. Awesome. Whoops. Yeah, I got the right one here. Okay, so these are van volumes. I know that I was looking at flatbed volumes yesterday. Let's look at flatbed volumes real quick. Let's do deck standard. And let's do flatbeds. I'm telling you, if you're a flatbedder or step deck, I'm telling you with a lot of heart that Alabama is the state to be. 853 in, 3,446 coming out. 3,446 loads coming out. California is waking up, which I've heard that their ports have increased volume. Georgia's not bad, 2608. Look at these low volumes for flatbed. Louisiana, 505 in, 1292 out. Mississippi, 380. And 1944 out. Nevada, 144 in, 208 out. Pennsylvania, not so much, not great. South Carolina, 1029 in, 1660 out. So the Southeast is where you want to be. Look at Virginia, 879 in, 1070 out. So great volumes out of the Southeast states. So just be aware of that. Illinois is not doing too bad. Indiana, let's see, Indiana's doing 19. Yeah, Indiana's not great. Kansas is definitely a no. Let's see what Arkansas is doing. 835 in, 1720 out. So if we go to the 1, 2, 3 low board here, and we go to load availability, let's go to flatbed and step deck here. So we hit step deck, flatbed, apply. You can create a pretty decent triangle. You can do like, say, Alabama to Arkansas, maybe to Texas, and then down I-10 back to Alabama or Georgia. And then you can also, if you want to balance between Alabama and Illinois and back, you probably get some great volumes coming each direction. Now, see, on 1, 2, 3, Arkansas is 1034 outbound, 445 inbound. Oregon's lit up, 413 outbound, 89 inbound. So Oregon's picking up as well. And California obviously is 416 outbound, 167 inbound. Pennsylvania's showing okay here. But yeah, you just running this triangle is Texas is interesting in the flatbed world, I've noticed. So we're trying to figure that out. So let's go to back to vans here. Arkansas is still good in van. So is Alabama's not. Alabama's about even when it comes to van. California is waking up a little bit again because of that port freight. See, your best volumes are going to be Georgia. Florida's got 23.29 going in and 11.17 coming out. So Florida's waking up a little bit. I mean, you're still going to get a crappy rate out there, but maybe not be hung up on as much as you normally might be. Michigan's not too bad. Louisiana's not too bad. Kentucky's not too bad. Missouri's good. What I've noticed about Missouri, certain markets drop off like in the later day. When I was looking at this gauge yesterday afternoon, Missouri was horrible, and I could tell on the low boards that it wasn't great. North Carolina's not great. Ohio 1189 in, 1555 out. Texas is more out than in, so that's good. I've been able to get a little bit better rate out of Texas here lately. Still struggling to get a decent rate in for the most part. Not like it used to be. It used to be you can get a good rate going into Texas because you're going to take your hit coming out. So Texas is still doing some weird stuff there. Let's look at reefer here. Let's see. Let's go back to the comments here. Atlanta traffic is like the Thunderdome. You can count on the accidents with the bingo card. Yes, even at 3 a.m. One time I went through there at 3 a.m. and there was a fatality accident that I had to deal with. So, death tastes expensive. Yes. Yes, I agree with that. Got my 12-stop load delivered. Picked up a 10-stop load yesterday evening. Good deal. Keeping it busy, right? Just getting a good wife of death can make anyone somewhat loopy. Should I buy a step deck trailer first or a reefer? I really believe a deep recession is coming out of Atlanta if it matters. I can't answer that question. When it comes to flatbed, the flatbed is definitely dependent on the economy. The exception to that is hurricane and tornado season. That requires building materials when things are destroyed. And it depends on how hard you want to work, because what you're going to find is that there was a time, remember when, during the post-COVID times, when we were all getting really good rates on anything, Van was actually paying better than those two platforms, which was interesting in and of itself. If you are truly worried about a recession, I would look at liquid tank freight, to be honest with you. But even they have their cycles. So, so your best defense against a negative cycle caused by recession or anything else is to just have your costs down and have a tip-top operation, have the right mindset. Because you survive a good market the same way you survive a bad market. You can't go off spending money. Reduce your debt as much as you possibly can. And you won't worry about the platforms as much. So it just depends on how much work you want to do. I don't know what the reefer market is like out of Atlanta. I do know that if you live in the Southeast and you like doing lumber and you like tarping and you can haul 48,000 pounds, you are good to go. The rates will fluctuate, but there's always work. Refrigerated, it depends on what you want to do. If you're doing produce, you got to concentrate on the produce area. If you're doing meat, you got to concentrate on the meat areas. And so that's something that you have to consider. Step deck allows more opportunity for higher paying freight, especially if you get into the equipment. But also there's a learning curve to that as well. You have to run differently. So it just depends on what your goals are, what your costs are. The step deck is going to be less debt than the reefer trailer and lower maintenance cost, but still you've got all the equipment, you've got all the chains and binders and tarps that you have to have and the bungees and all that. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's just my opinion on it. Steve, that FW email I forward includes a link to register to the webinar next Thursday, March 21st to the 24th, State of Freight per Sonar. Okay. Freightwaves email I forwarded. Okay, cool. I will check that out, definitely. Thank you. A10, if you're in Atlanta, flatbed, stay between Georgia and Louisiana, Arkansas. There you go. So, I mean, that's kind of the short answer of what I tried to say. So, key to dispatching flatbed or step deck is knowing the following: deck heights, especially step deck. 2, number of straps driver has. 3, can driver move winches to be alternating each side? Light loads needed. There you go. I know a guy that can get me all the reefer freight I can handle for 99 cents a mile out of Atlanta. Oh, that's funny. The worst drivers I see in Missouri is how law enforcement drives in Atlanta. Never mind how the rest of the people drive in Atlanta. They are the worst drivers I've ever seen by far. I'm gonna say Ohio gives them a run for their money. So, the Georgia State Patrol is on a power trip around Atlanta, even worse since started getting the Hellcats. Yes, I know that Greene County just recently started acquiring Mustang GTs for their patrol cars. So, the big push to empty onion cellars. That's a good. Is that why Utah and Idaho are lit up? Also, if driver has change of mind or size and length, if driver has tarps, do they have 4 foot, 6 foot, or 8 foot size, summary, flatbed, step deck, more technical? Yes. That's why the brokers seem to have more knowledge of their freight than the guys trying to move 40 loads of Niagara water. Anything for a van Saturday or Sunday out of Tulsa going anywhere? Yes, we'll take a look at that. Let's do that real quick. You're going to be tapping. See, I already have Tulsa already up here. You're going to be tapping into the Joplin market with Tulsa. So let's look at what day you want, Saturday or Sunday. So let's edit this search for Saturday and Sunday. We'll take out today. Okay, apparently I can't take out today. Let's try that again. Okay. Clear. There we go. Technology's been kicking my butt this week. So, search. Not much, especially on a Saturday. More than likely, here we go. Joplin to Covington, Tennessee. Almost said Texas. That would have been wrong. Now, this is fairly low for going into Tennessee. You can usually break $2 a mile to get to Tennessee, but we'll see what we got going on here. Picks up Sunday. There is a shipper in Joplin that ships 24/7. I don't think this is it. This is 30,000 pounds. Usually it's going to be 40, 42, 45. I've had it around 43 usually average. Boonville, Arkansas. I don't know who the shipper is there, but a lot of long distance stuff that no one wants to do. Seminole, Oklahoma. Traditionally, rates get a little bit lower out of Tulsa. So let's edit this search to, let's up the radius here to 200 miles. Yeah, it doesn't give you much. For some reason, now it throws in Fayetteville to Delaware, which it did earlier. I just missed it. So Edgerton, Kansas is another spot that, man, that's 189 miles from Tulsa, though, so you may not want to deadhead that far. But if you do, you're probably going to get a better rate out of Kansas than Oklahoma anyways, traditionally. But Tulsa's not too bad. Conway's a little bit of a stretch to Brownsville, Texas. They're only at $1.85 for a border town. I don't think so. Then you've got these loads to Oregon, which you probably don't want, and then Seminole to Sutherland, Virginia. You know, what I would look at is where can I land on a Monday, right? Where can I land for Monday? So, and then if I can land in a good place on Monday, we're good to go. But there's not much on for Saturday and Sunday. So, Sterling makes a great point here. Flatbed is economy dependent. Reefer is consumer dependent. So, now, Was thinking tanker too, but no experience. You can, well, I mean, you can get experience. There are companies that will train you. So I can tell you that cryogenics has been slow since winter. Tells me that manufacturing industry in general is slow considerably. So if it's slow for you, Mr. Boggs, and you're dependent on manufacturing and industry, then that means flatbed will be slow as well. And like Sterling said, flatbed is economy dependent, reefer is consumer dependent. Furniture is also economy dependent. So that's why, look, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. This is why you have to pay attention to your own operation and get good at your own operation. And do the stuff that no one else wants to do, because that's what's going to get you through any kind of down market time. That's going to get you through any economic changes. You know, if you're doing reefer, do the LTL multi-stop reefer. If you're doing van, do the multi-stop LTL van. You know, do the, you know, like Scorpion Trucker. He just finished a 20-stop load that paid him very well for the last 2 weeks. And I'm going to get him back to where he needs to go, and he's going to do it again. These multi-stop loads that I was getting for my drivers did them very well. And now it's not there. Because why? Because it's a business dependent on economy. They needed to lower their costs, and someone came in and underbid all of us. So, and that's the nature of that. There are a few tanker companies around Atlanta that you can lease to and be home daily. I do know a person that lives in Alabama using his own truck, running tanker freight that makes good money hauling fuel. So if you get tanker, I would get your hazmat endorsement, or else you're stuck to food grade, which food grade can be good, but you're not going to get home much. Most of the food grade is going to be coast to coast kind of stuff. If you're a flatbed step deck driver, learn how to strap all kinds of freight recession proof. Then you can haul Ritchie Brother goods, hay, shingles, trees, lumber, plastic pipe, airport ports, and all that stuff. Yes. Fuel terminals in Doraville, Athens, Powder Springs, and Macon. There you go. Professionally, you know the area. By June, 98% of last year's crop will be shipped. All cellars will be empty for the next year. And oh, wow. So onions are about to go through the roof then. That's interesting. CDN says 810 Batman, research what mode will offer you the biggest income potential long term. What is less taxing on your body? Injury equals no pay. If you want tanker, depending on your age, learn. Think retirement. Pigtail, good morning. I saw your text. Might talk about that on the next show. Was mainly thinking reefer because of my age and the economy. I believe food will never stop, but not into the load rejections and claims. If I have to, I will bounce a KCO. I was hoping for a shorty. Thanks, brother. Yes, I know that it's early yet. It's only Wednesday. And so the AI is not even worrying about that. Like if CH has something booked or not booked or on the board for Joplin, even their agents can't touch it. There's protein shakes and dog food that comes out of Joplin 24/7. And so I would look to Joplin. Joplin's is about 100 miles away, a little bit over 100 miles away. If I had to do a blind deadhead out of Oklahoma, it would be out of Tulsa. It would be to Joplin. Go to the Joplin Pet Show, look at all the cool stuff that you don't need, and then there's literally two shippers from. There's four shippers right down the road from the Big Apple truck stop there. This summer is calling for fires, poor air quality. Alberta had an El Nino winter, equals very little snow. Super dry may affect crops this summer. If you run agriculture goods, be nimble to adjust mode. That's a good insight. Romeland Services LLC. Good morning. With a purposeful grimace and a terrible sound, he books cheap loads until he breaks down. Snorzilla. Oh, Sterling. So what you do is you get a one of those karaoke tapes, or learn how to play the song and then sing that for everyone. I've already canceled the DAT load board. I'm tempted to cancel 123 because my email load options keep me more busy. Avoiding the scam brokers by working with pre-brokers is nice. They usually take 2 months for maintenance on the sellers. Okay. So, all right. So let's go back to the load availability. Let's see what states are. Let's go back to Van here. And we've got Missouri. See what's coming out of Missouri today. Kansas City to Davenport. Let's sort this by rate per mile. See what the shorty stuff is doing today. You get $300 to cross the river there, Kansas City, Missouri to Kansas City, Kansas. There's usually a lot of that. Like, there's a lot of inner city Kansas City stuff that you can do. Like Harrisonville or Higginsville to Kansas City. It just depends on what your cost per day and if you could do 1 or 2 of those a day. Here's the load to Ohio, 332 a mile. Let's click on that one. That's not until next Tuesday, but, hey, whatever. All right, so, yeah, they're above the average there, so, yeah, it's got another stop, Burlington, Iowa. So you're going to want to get your Googles out, and if that's a second delivery or a second pickup. So I'm more apt to do a multiple delivery than a multiple pickup because this happened to me when I was at Schneider. I had a 3-stop pickup. It was paying really good. I get the first stop, no issues. This is all in Chicagoland. You get to the second stop, no issues. I go to close the door, and it's all the way to the doors. Lovely. So I close the door, seal up the trailer, park off to the side. I call Snyder and say, hey, we got a problem. What's that? Well, I can't fit any more product in here. And they're like, oh, what do you want me to do? You still want me to go deliver it? We don't know. You might have to take it to the yard. Well, what's that going to do? You can't fit it anymore. So they let me keep the load. They let me deliver it. And they kept the price the same. I expect them to lower the price, but they never did. So that was good. So TC Box says, okay, Snorelord, bust out the guitar and do a Godzilla riff. We all want to hear you play it now. There's a death metal band called Obituary who cover a song by Celtic Frost, Circle the Tyrants, which is the first bars of that sounds exactly like the first riffs in Godzilla. Missouri for Monday, 53 skirted dry van. Skirted. Why does it have to be skirted? The Worldwide Express Kansas City loads are 45.5 water loads for your information. Yes, and that could be hard to scale out for some of you. So, A10 low volume and rates will decline in July, so keep that in mind when making a decision. Yes. Yep. Last multi-stop pickup I did, the second stop was heavier than the first stop, resulting in the trailer being barely legal with the tandem slid all the way back. That's the other. I've had a multi-stop delivery get me a ticket on the scale house. I picked up a load that was 38,000 pounds. First delivery was in Amarillo, and the second delivery was in Waco. Well, it turns out the first delivery was getting a lot more product than Waco was. And I was over on, my suspension gauge on the tractor looked good, but I was new. I was green. I didn't realize that if the weight is too much on the rear, it's going to lift up. It's going to make your drives look lighter than they actually are. So yeah, we learned a $200 lesson that night. I used to do a lot of KC and Carthage for Safeway and Schreiber cheese. Yep. Yeah, Carthage is a good spot. If I had a reefer, I would do, and I've done it because I was dispatching a reefer for a minute. Missouri, basically, let's get rid of this map here. So let's go to reefer here. This area right here, basically Tulsa, southeast Kansas. There's a couple of shippers out of there. Northeast Oklahoma, which is, basically Tulsa, and then Arkansas. This area right here to this area right here. Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. Maybe flirt with Michigan and say hi to Jeff. Maybe Minnesota if you're not too far near the Canadian border. That's it. That's what I would do. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, if you like the longer haul, I would do, well, I don't know what I would do. Maybe Wisconsin to Georgia and back. I don't know. And that's where this really great tool is. So let's take a look at that. Let's say we want to do Wisconsin to Georgia. So let's do Green Bay. Wisconsin to Atlanta. I love this tool. I've been using this a lot. Put reefer on here. Get rate. So generally that lane pays around $22.82, so $2.45 a mile. Cargo Chief's got it at 31, so that means there's a bigger spread. So as high as 27 and as low as 2,000. So, and then what you can do is, it gives you your cost, what your average fuel cost is going to be at 6 miles a gallon, which is what I got mine set at. And then you could switch a lot less on the route up to Atlanta. So let's do Milwaukee, because that will put you in the Chicago market as well. Milwaukee to let's do Rogers, Arkansas. Let's get that rate for reefer. 264 a mile, 1817. Cargo Chief and green screens. Let's see where they're at. 1396, 1382. Not a whole lot of fluctuation. 1796 was the highest. Now here's the thing, though. This is what's also cool about this tool, is that how many loads are going to Rogers out of Milwaukee? 0 to anywhere 39. So you can kind of see what the market's doing. Like for today, there's 0 loads going to Rogers if you're trying to create that lane, but to anywhere there's 39. And so what you can do is you click on view loads. Okay, where are these loads going? So looks like it's Missouri. Some Oklahoma. So let's do that. So what we do is we go back to market rates. Now we're going to do Milwaukee to Springfield, Missouri, which, by the way, isn't that far from Rogers. What does this lane look like? 213 a mile, 1266. But again, it's showing 0 to Springfield right now, but there's 16 loads as backhauls. So you can kind of tell the temperature of a market just by this tool alone. You can kind of help create your back and forth or your triangles. So, this is a great tool to find your lanes that might work. So instead of Milwaukee, let's do St. Louis. We'll do Edwardsville instead. How about that? Edwardsville, Illinois, get rate for reefer, 1076, 306 a mile, so you get a higher rate per mile. And you're looking at a basic haul of 352 miles. So now Cargo Chief's got this at 847, and Green Screens has got it from 961 to 1283. So that there's a pretty decent spread there, but here's the thing. So what can you make per day on this? But obviously this is short. And look, there's 2 loads going to Edwardsville today, and there's 2 coming out of Milwaukee, or going to Milwaukee out of Edwardsville. So you can, and then you can look at the history. This is pretty cool too. The low has been 674. The high has been 1818. And the average is 308, 306 a mile. Now, I know some YouTubers don't care about the averages, but I kind of look at it for the trends, because look at this. And this is for you, 810, Batman, okay? Look at the rates between 2020 and 2024. The lowest was 2023 at 820, but look at this. It was 1076 in 2020, which was when rates were fairly low because of the vid. Then you got 1624 in 2021, and then 22 was 1509, a little bit of a correction, and then 23 is when they dropped considerably, and then 24 they're back up. But all in all, that's not too bad of a spread. And the numbers for 21 and 22 are pretty extravagant. So when you want to do that, so let's switch this to flatbed here. Let's do it for step deck. No, we'll do it for flatbed, because step deck might bring in the specialty stuff that throws the numbers off. So 1135 on flatbed, 919. But look at the load count. There's way more loads from Edwardsville to Milwaukee than there are Milwaukee to Edwardsville. Now, granted, this is over 3 days. This is over 1. But look the loads to anywhere. So obviously Milwaukee is a good place to land, or Edwardsville is a good place to land. I'm sorry. And then, but let's look at the historical rates. In 2020, these were $595. But they've been pretty even throughout. 1255 in 21, 1167 in 22, 1019 in 23, and 1135 in 24. So looking at that historical data, you can tell that it's a pretty constant market, other than 2020, which was an extreme circumstance. So those are the things that you want to look at. So let's switch this to van. Milwaukee to Edwardsville. Get rate. Van is a lot lower, obviously, but 732 based off of 15 reports. But look at the volumes. There's 7 loads out of Milwaukee going to Edwardsville, Illinois. And then you've got 17 loads from Edwardsville to Milwaukee. And the volumes aren't bad on each side. Now let's look at historical data. 631 in 2020, 996 in 21, 1410 in 22, $4 a mile. That was when we were all throwing rocks and getting rich. 23 and it was 704, and then right now it's at 732. So other than 2022, it's been a pretty even spread. But you're also going to look at the volumes as well. And it's a route of 352 miles, so it's a day trip. So if your costs are, say, 350 a day, you're looking at some tolls, which you could probably avoid them pretty decently, pretty simply. But you're looking at $464 after fuel. So if you are, if you're signed on to a carrier and you're getting 80%, you may not be able to survive off that. So you probably want something a little bit longer. But your fuel spend is going to be a lot lower. If we do, let's do this Springfield, Missouri. This is a much better route. 1363 to go from Wisconsin to Springfield. 1408 on Cargo Chief. 1165 is the low and 1504 is the high on green screens. And then rate checks got it at 1363. So 229 a mile based off of 14 reports. Negotiation strength is good. But look at this. There's 4 loads coming out of Milwaukee going to Springfield for today, but then there's 27 coming out of Springfield right back to Milwaukee. And historically, if you look, 2020, 1190, 1530, 1789, 1375, 1363. So 13 is about where it's going to land. 1530 when the rates were at, or 1789 when the rates were at their highest in 22. And what happened with all of that is a lot of the local carriers here in Springfield grabbed a lot of that freight because that was when fuel spiked, and they took a lot of that short haul freight. I literally watched it disappear and then get the prices cut in half overnight. It was pretty surprising to me. It takes a lot for me to go, dang. And that was one of the incidences. So, all right. Cool Trucking used to love hauling out of the caves. Springfield caves aren't bad at all. Carthage isn't too bad either. It's the Kansas City ones that kind of give me some anxiety a little bit. Hauling out of the caves would be an experience as well, I'd imagine. Yes, the caves are always a fun experience, especially once it requires tandems all the way back to enter. Yeah, I don't put the tandems all the way back in a cave. When I lived in Albion, Illinois, I love Kansas City to Louisville and back. Got me through the homes. There you go. Jackknife, it can run on the dock unless it pays $5 a mile. I love that lane between Wisconsin, western Tennessee, and Kentucky. So let's do that. Let's do Milwaukee to Louisville. Let's do reefer here. Now, this is interesting here. So they're showing rate checks got it at 872, 217 a mile. But then Cargo Chief's got it at 1418. And then Green Screen's got it from 1124 to 1418. So this is based off of 12 reports. And whenever I see this pause, that means that they don't have enough data for the negotiation strength. But look at the even load numbers here. Louisville, Kentucky, there's 3 loads. To Milwaukee, there's 3 loads. So all right. Chief Freight Hauler says, Jackknife, let me know where you leave that freight to rot. I'll get it for $1.19. Any advice for someone whose cost is $723 a day? Well, I think if you're succeeding on that, then you don't need my advice. Man, loving this 123 low board. DAT is a Nokia brick phone, and 123 low board is a Samsung. Well, some people may not take that as a compliment. Snorelord, I'm really impressed with what you're showing on 123. Thinking of signing up with 123 when I need a low board again. There you go. Well, the info's down there, 48065. Thank you very much. This tool has been the best tool I've seen them have. And it really allows you to, I mean, look, I encourage everybody, and this is the great thing about 123, is that you don't need an MC number to have this low board. Even, like, let's say you're at Landstar. Now, there are Landstar agents that can book off the spot market. And so if nothing is on the Landstar board that looks good, get this low board. You don't need the MC number approval for it. And take a look at these market rates. Take a look at, experiment. Okay, well, how do I find a triangle? They've got the tri-haul. There's other tools here. For your newbies that are new to owning a truck, you got a profit calculator that you can add anything in. Mileage calculator, and what this will do is, like, let's do that. Let's do Springfield, Missouri to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, because we love self-abuse. All right, so Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and calculate. It'll give you your mileage in each state for your IFTA. You can download the state mileage report, and it will tell you your tolls. Total toll cost $205.20. And then you can set your MPG. It'll give you the average fuel costs, and then it'll give you your profit margin here, depending on what numbers you throw in here. So I remember the old days when, I sound old when I say that, but when Landstar, I had to do, for the first, I think, month before the Qualcomm started doing it, I had to keep track of the states I drove in and how many, and this gives you that report right there. You're going to drive through Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. The little 14-mile stretch there on 70. So, but yeah, this market rate tool has been absolutely fire. I love it. That's what about cost me a day to run when I had an employee in the truck. I think it was $7.85 a day for 20 days. Jackknife, I'm happy with no employees most days. So, and then of course you got now if you got the app, this load availability map will look like this. It'll be a density map. It'll be like, it's not really it's a list, not a map. And but which is kind of nice. It's not that much different than this, right? On DAT. You've got the same thing over here. And allows you, and what I like is it allows you to see the interstate as well, like Texas. Let's take a look at Texas here. $15.95 outbound, $43.50 inbound, and $15.20 intrastate. So if you got Texas intrastate, or if you're a Texas carrier, you can make money just staying inside Texas. We had a contractor that lived in Texas. That's what he did a lot. So, all right. LOL, it's not that bad, actually. If you find good old blue-collar boys, I'll be honest, though, the one driver was 52 and the other one was 44. Oh, man, I would have loved having something like that when I would forget to record my mileage when I was running paper logs for IFTA. There you go. So, anyways, I appreciate everybody for coming in. We got to cut this now. So, strength for today, out for tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll see you Friday. And those of you go on the mats, be safe, have fun. I'm expecting lots of live feeds and lots of videos to get the experience, and I want reviews. So, all right. With that being said, strength for today, out for tomorrow. Aggression turns to screws. Thanks for watching. Peace out.